and he could see. Paul's conversion clearly occurred before this moment outside the city of Damascus, if you were to ask me. But I think the parallels of the scales falling from his eyes align nicely with what happens inside our hearts at the moment of our conversion. God takes our sinful hearts of stone and he melts them. And as Paul says in his letter to the Romans, gives life to the dead and calls into existence the things that do not exist. Chapter 4, verse 17. Though our sanctification is a lifelong process, only to be completed after our death, something miraculous and immediate happens inside of us when we are converted. We now have the ability to see with our spiritual eyes as the scales fall. We now finally come to the fifth point that we want to cover today, and that's the response of Saul, verse 18. Then he rose and was baptized. Beloved, I initially wrote in my outline to say regeneration requires action. I don't want anyone to think that there is a single action that I can perform to become regenerated or saved. I think the better way to say it is action proves regeneration. Or, if I may take a step even further, regeneration performs action. James 4, verse 20, faith without works is dead. It's not alive if there is no works. Saved sinners just simply do not continue on as they have before. So the first thing Paul does after regaining his sight is he gets baptized. Compare this to the eunuch in chapter 8, where he said, "See, here is water. What prevents me from being baptized?" Baptism is a symbolic and very important public act of declaring your conversion and acceptance of Jesus as having died for your sins and rose again. And today we're actually celebrating the baptism after this.
Yes.
And I didn't plan that. It just worked out really nicely. And for that, we're really going to celebrate. The second thing we notice is the response to Saul is that he wastes no time after his conversion. He doesn't go into Damascus and arrest a few Christians here or persecute a few Christians there because that's what he was going to do anyways. And, I'm going to think about this whole Christianity thing for a little bit before I act. Verse 19. For some days, he was with the disciples at Damascus. So, he immediately spends time with other disciples in Damascus. Those who are converted spend time with the brothers and sisters of the faith. And there is a crucial role for the local church in your sanctification and maturation as a Christian. Ephesians 4 says the purpose of the church is to equip or perfect the saints. And Hebrews 10, verses 24 through 25 tells us that you going to church is actually providing encouragement to the saints. So if we don't go to church, we're withholding our encouragement of our brothers and sisters. So we give just as much as we get. In fact, we should give way more than what we get. Back to Acts 9, verse 20 through 22, and we're picking up speed here. Immediately, he proclaimed Jesus in the synagogue, saying, "He is the Son of God." And all who heard him were amazed and said, Is not this the man who made havoc in Jerusalem of those who called upon his name? And had he not come here for this purpose, to bring them bound before the chief priests? But Saul increased all the more in strength and confounded the Jews who lived in Damascus by proving that Jesus was the Christ.
Amen.
Paul not only spent time with the saints, but he immediately proclaimed Jesus in the synagogue. The Greek for proclaim means he repeatedly, without ceasing, proclaimed. Remember that zeal that we were talking about? Well, now it's a zeal for the gospel. And isn't it inspiring to read that Paul would be proclaiming the gospel in the very synagogues that he was anticipating arresting Christians?
Yes.
Fascinating point. Verse 22 uses the word proving that Jesus was Christ. Much like Stephen's sermon, Philip's tutoring of the eunuch, and even Jesus' teaching of those on the road to Emmaus, effective evangelism is through logical analysis of Jesus' fulfillment of Old Testament prophecy on the identity of the Messiah. Modern academia and other worldly institutions, like governments, will have you believe that Christianity is not an exercise of the rational mind, but instead a form of spirituality that just needs to be kept separate from the other realms of study. But this is called secularism, and it's certainly not what Paul had in mind when he said, we are not